Get him. Not Jemma wearing Vic's t-shirt. She's wearing that. Okay.
A whole squashy went down my throat, just a whole.
You're okay.
My lips are a bit chapped.
I was using right, actually, I've got a space camp. Right, at first I was a bit like, I couldn't. It was, thank you. At first I couldn't smell anything and I was like really disappointed because I could like barely smell it. But then I started using it and now you can smell it. But this under my lip gloss, because I hate it when like my lip gloss is like sticky. This underneath it. Nick.
I do have my space camp here, it's just on there. Because we got like because there's 2 lip balms in one, I was like, let's just do like a 2-for-1 little dealio. I was like, let's just do the 2-for-1 dealio. So I chose the tropical pineapple because I really like tropical pineapple. And at first I was the same. I was like, can't smell anything. Like I was sad.
We literally sat there and were like, because like we love Nick and we like wanted to love it.
I wanted to love it so bad, and now I'm like, damn.
Now that we've used it,
yeah, definitely recommend. I want to get the birthday cake one for you for your actual birthday.
I want to try the strawberry. Is it strawberry something or is it just strawberry?
Don't know.
Or the watermelon.
There's one that we will absolutely not be trying, and that's fresh mint. We both hate it.
If anyone's chewing gum near me, brush your teeth.
What are we doing today?
So today we are going to be reacting to some like paranormal stories that we find on Reddit. I have done a video on my own channel of me like telling you like my paranormal experiences.
Yeah, she's trying to do a permanent hiatus from Largeandlarger.
No. Right, I do one video. I was like, just sometimes like, it's not that big of a deal. But anyway, there was one I missed out though. If you want to go and watch that, thank you. But there was one I missed out, and it's not really like mine. It was my mum's. So she was pregnant with me sat on the couch, and she saw something like move at the corner of her eye, and when she looked to the curtain moved, and out came this like little Victorian girl, and it just like walked towards her and walked through her stomach, and that is why she called me Victoria. She only told me that a few years ago. I was like, huh?
No. Just no.
Because of my trinkets. My trinkets.
The first thing I see on Reddit when I open it, saw my dad's search history and I'm disgusted. What is... We're gonna go on Reddit.
Okay, whilst you scroll. Whilst Jemma scrolls and finds it, we're gonna cut to it now.
Hi! What is the scariest paranormal activity you've experienced? Also, I'm reading these. I'll be reading.
Fine.
Don't tell me you don't struggle. Am I wrong?
I mean, I can try.
Okay, you can try.
I'll read the first one. By the way, if like we sent any, you've copied and pasted it from like a book or whatever, or you've literally just copied a TV show.
You're done.
We chronically watch ghost hunting TV shows and everything
all the time. We know.
All the. If there's just any of those stupid ones.
I could feel them moving in the corner of my eye, and then my foot got touched, and then I heard voices in my room.
Be original.
I got my blanket
I saw
pulled.
something moving. Oh, it was just my dog. Why have you put... That's not a paranormal experience then.
Be
You
real!
thought it was going to be.
Right, my wife, girlfriend at the time, was sleeping over at my house. I was dealing with a bit of insomnia at the time, so I was laying awake in the middle of the night. Convenient.
Okay, so if you're currently going through insomnia, are you not just seeing it from overtiredness?
Okay, well let's let him cook.
Okay, let's let him cook.
For whatever reason, it scared me enough. When I heard something fall from behind my computer desk, For whatever reason, it scared me enough to hide under my blanket. Then all of a sudden, I
Valid.
hear your typical horror movie heavy breathing right in front of my face outside the blanket. I'm pretty much frozen in fear, listening to this breathing noise circling the bed, sort of. My wife starts to toss a little bit and then rips off her blanket to get up to use the what's the name, the restroom. She shuffles towards the end of the bed to get down, and next thing I know, she screams with so much terror and instantly starts to cry, saying there's a little girl sitting on the floor at the edge of the bed. My next move was, so I stood up off the bed and jumped up probably as far as I could make it towards the light switch. When I asked what the hell she saw, and she was just describing a girl sat in the fetal position, looking fairly distressed, looking up at her as she's getting off the bed.
The looking up from the...
I told her I heard breathing outside my blanket right before I saw it, so needless to say, the light stayed on for the rest of the night.
I rebuke!
That's...
No! So, the looking up thing, there's a scene in Teen Wolf where they're digging this thing, and the camera goes down and there's that torso, and she's like this. No. That stuff.
I rebuke. I rebuke.
Is that not stuff?
I hope so. Just carry on. Just
Okay,
carry on.
we need to talk. We need to elaborate on the story we've just read. We can't just skip through it.
That's insane.
That's when I was like, the breathing, and then he was like, my wife was next to me. I was like, could just be her. But the fact that she's just woke up, said she's seen.
No.
Mm-mm.
It's when he said that she let out a scream of terror and instantly started to cry.
Yeah. And
that would freak me out.
It's
more.
if it's more believable as well when it's two people have like seen or heard the same thing, but when it's just you can be like, oh, am I just overtired? Like,
yeah.
But
fun story of mine.
I was just gonna say that because of the
So when I sleep at Vic's house, sometimes I sleep in the spare room, which is next to hers. And there's like a ladder up to the loft, but it's like built in stairs. And I was laying in Vic's room, and I just turn and I see this teenage boy just sat on the stairs, just chilling, almost looking like Tate Langdon. Wait, let me get to that point before you. Yeah, don't expose.
Yeah, go on.
And then on Tuesday, I came to Vic's house after work, and I was sat here with her, and I was looking at her, and I was like, oh, there's a man in that room, by the way, that sits on the stairs. And she instantly starts crying.
Literally, she didn't even finish. My eyes just
started, and then she's like, and then I said to her, I feel like it's a teenage boy, though, wearing, like, 2000s indie outfit. And she starts sobbing. And she's like, no, I've seen exactly the same thing.
I used to sleep in that room. I've been in pretty much every room in this house over the years. Yeah. And that used to be my room. Yeah.
And I just knew, like, I was like, we had seen the exact same thing. But he's just chilling there. It's like he's lost.
But yeah, it's like, I get this, like, lost, sad, like, vibes. But then when she was saying how she thinks he's dressed, I was like, no, shut up. Because
literally we had the exact same thing of the earphones with the cat with the little recorder.
And then so he's wearing like these jean things and like Converse with like a sweater type thing. So like literally like Tate Langdon. No joke. And like I've always said this.
She's never ever once in her life told me this.
I think because of how like the feeling like I get from him of just being lost and sad, I've just pushed it to the back of my mind because I don't really go in that room anymore. Like
but literally the way that I knew it was so for real, but the way that you started sobbing.
Instantly.
So me and Vic have this thing. We've only became friends in October of 20. I don't know why I'm doing that.
No, I know you sat on me and then looked at me as if to be like.
I know. We only became friends like October 2022.
Yeah.
But then I went to her house in November of 22 when she was living alone. Place. And I said to her, who's the boy at the top of the stairs in her room?
Again, filled up. And I was like, because I lived alone at this point, I was like, it was unspoken. It was so unspoken. And I was like...
And like, I knew I could see the same thing. But the thing is there's been so many encounters with me and Vic. I have had the same feeling. There's a little girl in the room. When I lay on Vic's bed, she comes and plays with my hair. Like, there's been times when my hair just goes up and, like, she pulls my hair. She, like, plays with my hair. Or, like, there were times when, like, me and Vic's mom and Vic were sat on the bed and we watched her run across the room and up the wall.
Like, we put an EMF on.
Not in a weird way. Not in a weird way.
Yeah,
it was just, like,
but we put
around.
an EMF on because we were like, there's some strong.
Yeah, some strong energy.
So we put it on, never seen it spike as hard ever, and we were
There's
just like...
also been a time, I won't go into detail about obviously what's going on because that's your own private business, but there was a time when I was stood in the kitchen with Vic at work and I start saying things that
No, you can say it, it's fine.
Vic has a friend who's passed away called Kyle, and I'd never ever heard about Kyle.
No,
we were
because
friends.
we were just, at this point, just colleagues.
Just colleagues. It had been like a month that we'd known each other. I'd only known his name. I didn't know what happened to him. I didn't know any of that. And I start speaking to her in the kitchen, and I keep saying, I keep hearing letters of the alphabet, like, taking the mick
Like,
out
I'm
of
just
me.
trying to cook for these tables, like, and she's, like, sat at the pass.
And I start listing these things, and I start giving her messages, and there's one specific message that I'm not going to put on the internet. I'm not going to tell them, because that's personal to you, and to me, and to Kyle. But do you remember the sentence that I said to you, and you just instantly welled up crying, because it was the... That one.
Yeah.
And, like, crying. Again, I didn't know anything about Vic at this point. And I'm, like, spewing shit at her like this. And it was, like, gone. And then it's just, like, it's so many things that just have happened
and it's
between
mad 'cause she was, like, trying to ask questions. And, like, I know he was so sarcastic.
But
like,
I had no idea.
And she was like, he's being, like, really sarky, but laughing. And I was like...
Like, I kept asking him to give me a letter of, like, a person.
So then he started giving random letters, and Jemma was like, what could this mean? And then he just started going, like, A, B...
W, X. Like, I'm like, motherfucker.
And so it was
and
like...
he's laughing at me, and I'm like... And Vic's like...
I was just stood at this pass, like, trying to play up, just like...
Like, that was, like, a serious thing for us. And, like, when I was a child, I slept in my great-grandmother's room in the house. And I said to my mum one day when I was, like, 10. No, not with my mum, my dad. I said to my dad one day when I was, like, 10, I was like, I keep hearing clocks in my room, and I have for years. Like, I always hear a clock, and then there's always a noise at 6:30 in the morning. But I've never had a clock in my room. And my dad, he went white, and you know my dad. That's not something Dad does. And he went, what? My grandmother, my great-grandmother, his grandmother, slept with a little normal alarm clock that went tick, tick, tick next to her bed and had an alarm set on it for 6:30 every morning the whole time she lived in that house. And I never had a clock in my room, and I always used to hear tick, 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 tick. And then 6:30, it bzz, stop. Wouldn't hear it during the day, only at night. Only.
Like, I don't actually think...
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
I think I just died a bit inside.
My heart stopped.
We just heard, like, loads of, like, banging and stuff, but mum and dad have
Footsteps
just...
going up and down the stairs.
But then we heard the door. We didn't hear the door open. We just heard banging and then footsteps. But then, like, we've just heard the door shut and my dad's voice.
I just hurt my ankle really badly as well.
My
I like how I
heart's,
just tried to sacrifice you.
I know. Literally threw me to the wolves. That couldn't have happened at such a worst time.
No,
ever.
I shat myself.
Okay. Lived in a 100-plus-year-old mansion that had been divided into apartments. Roommate and I lived on the top floor with attic access and a private entrance on the back of the house. One evening, I was watching a movie with my boyfriend when my roommate texts and says he's bringing a date home. Is that okay if they use the big TV? I said sure, and boyfriend and I moved to my bedroom to finish our movie. Shortly after, we heard heavy footsteps come up the back stairs, open and close the very noisy and squeaky kitchen door, and hear them walk across the kitchen, past my door and down the hall. We finish watching our movie and boyfriend goes home. It's shortly thereafter I realise that I am the only person in the apartment. Called roommate to see if he'd been home and he says, no, we just got to Blockbuster, we're going to choose a movie and head home. I called my boyfriend and told him I was spending the night at his house.
I rebuke. There's no way you would not catch me. I find that really weird that that's a story you read right after what we just experienced. And the kitchen door.
Yo.
How did we not hear the front door?
I don't know.
Imagine they're not downstairs.
Stop speaking. Every time you speak and say something creepy, there's a bang. Stop it!
Imagine right then there's a bang. Okay, that's insane. And valid for...
It's my favourite thing to do to people. Me and my niece do it all the time.
I've written about this before, but when I was a preteen / young teenager, my family moved into a house. Okay, I'm glad you moved into a house.
Jemma!
It started with hearing footsteps in the attics, which wasn't tall enough for anyone to walk around in. Ew. We attributed it to rats.
Rats!
I don't know why I said it like that.
Rats!
You little bumberclad rat. But it made my grandmother uncomfortable enough that she stopped visiting. Grandmas don't fuck with them. Their intuition is on top. What am I doing? We started seeing things. A woman peeking around corners, a little boy running around, and the shadow of a man at the end of the hallway. My dad's bedroom was across the hall from mine and my brother's room, and I often slept in there. Me and my two brothers were watching a movie one night when I saw a man crawling on his hands and knees into the room. I thought it was my dad, who often did things like this to scare us. I gave the signal to him and went back to watching the movie, expecting him to grab my little brother's foot. He was sleeping next to me. Then he opened his door, flooding the hallway with light. There was no one there. I've never been more terrified.
Child, anyway.
I don't even want to comment on that one.
No.
No, I think we're going to just move on from that.
Yeah.
That gave me full body chills and I feel a bit sick.
Okay. Years ago, I worked at a Walgreens photo desk. A lady came in one day with an old black and white photo of her as a child. She said she used to tell her mum there were devils in the trees around her house, and her mum thought she just had a wild imagination and was making stuff up.
Sorry, if your child is telling you there's devils in the trees, I wouldn't think, oh, you have a wild imagination. I either think, fuck, the trees are haunted, or two, my child is a psychopath, get them a psychiatric evaluation.
Yeah. She then showed me the photo of her taken in the 60s in a white dress and a pretty smile on what looked like a sunny day.
Why are you saying pretty smile for a child? Reddit.
But WTF is that in the trees? It looked like demon faces all over and around the trees. On the bark, in the branches, worst case of pareidolia.
Okay, a word.
I've ever had. She wanted to make an enlarged copy and said she would give it to her mum to prove she wasn't crazy. Surely her mum
would have seen that picture.
No, but if she was a kid in the 60s, meaning her mum would have been born like...
What if the woman was
40s.
a ghost? Yeah, but we don't know when this was. He said years ago.
Oh, yeah, he did. But... creepy.
That's insane.
That's insane.
I mean, I'm glad I made you read that one.
Yeah, but I rebuke.
Like saying the D word, especially in homes.
Yeah.
I don't fuck with it. My sister has a terrible one, but I can't say it on the internet.
I've got one. So the pub that me and Jemma used to work at, right? So this was before Jemma started. And everyone used to be like how haunted it was, blah, blah, blah. Like, I saw stuff at the corner of my eye in this place, but the stories that my manager was telling me, I was like, okay. So I was saying, like, you know, I didn't really believe it. She was like, yeah, a lot of people have said, like, they've been scratched, they've, like, seen this, that, whatever. And I was like, yeah, okay. I go back into the kitchen, I start preparing the chicken, start, like, seasoning it and stuff. The back of my hand just starts burning. Like, I mean burning. It's all red. So I'm like, fuck, am I suddenly just allergic to these seasonings that I've always used? And it was like on the back of my hand. So like I wash my hands And I look, and down my hand are just 3 massive scratches down my hand. And I was just like, huh? And then there was one time they were looking through security footage from, what was it, like 2 a.m, something like that.
Yeah,
because something happened.
It was a Saturday night.
So, because the alarm got triggered. And nobody was in the pub at all. Like, the manager turned up, no one. So, the next day, she looked at the footage, 2 a.m.
Man.
There's just a man sat at the table.
Nobody was in the pub.
Nobody was in the pub. All lights
the police
were off.
were there as well. Nobody was in the pub.
Like this, and then just at 2 a.m, just sat on the.
But you could see him glowing.
Yeah.
But when I went, this was my trial shift. They took me upstairs.
Oh, upstairs is that I hated going up on my own. I had to take someone with me. I kept taking.
Me too.
Did you actually?
Every time.
Every time I was like, "Can you come with me?" And he was like, "Okay."
I went up with Vic, and I said to her, "I don't like this room." I didn't know the story of this place. You know, the room with all the Christmas stuff in it.
Oh yeah, I know the room.
And I said to Vic, "I don't like this room. There's a man standing in the window looking out in an old uniform." Do you remember that? I said
Mum
those
said
words
the exact same thing walking up to the pub.
Yeah,
when we
and you
came
cried. You cried, and I told you this.
Because they did like a psychic night there, and me and my mum really wanted to go, so we went. And like as we were approaching, Mum was like, "Someone stood in that window, like wearing like old like."
And then I
military
found out
uniform.
that was where the police used to wait and look out. But the most scary thing about that pub was the staff and the customers. My sister used to have some weird shit happening at the unit she rented many years ago. She told me stories, but I'd never experienced myself. One time while visiting her, that changed. We were watching TV and I went to the kitchen to get a drink. I walked past the bathroom door, which was open. When I came back, it was closed. She hadn't left the sofa. And there was a dodgy tile on the bathroom floor where the door would get stuck. You have to physically force the door open over the tile. No wind, no noise, nothing. That's weird, I thought, but okay. 10 minutes later, we were both sitting there and we hear this incredibly loud bang, bang, bang on the door that goes to the backyard. Scared the living fuck out of us, love that, and made us jump. We looked outside but couldn't see anything or anyone. No dog either. That seemed to be it for the evening, thank fuck. And after talking about it for a while, she went off to bed. I watched TV for a bit more and then decided to call it a day as well. I turned off the TV and stood up. As I was about to walk away, I hear this noise of something heavy being dragged over wood. I look up and she had this big dolphin statue on top of a TV cabinet. The statue is just slowly moving forward across the wood by itself. It went about 10 centimeters or so and then stopped. You could see the scratches on the woods where it moved. I told her about it the next morning and she wasn't surprised. That's not that scary. Like, it is scary, but I feel like that's a scene out of a TV show.
Yeah.
Feels a bit classic.
Yeah, thank you for watching. If you've even made it this far through all the yapping.
We love you. Happy
spooky season.
Yeah, what day
Do you
are
know
we
my
posting this?
absolute favourite time of the year? I just can't breathe in it. I was set up since birth. Born in the winter, can't fucking breathe in it. I have winter asthma. Like, well, I have
Winter
asthma.
asthma!
I said winter asthma.
I know, but you
Well,
winter
it's seasonal asthma, but like any sudden temperature changes, like I'm done. But I can't breathe.
Did you hear that? That was my hip.
Nice. I can't breathe in the cold, but I still love this time of year.
Right, we're gonna... I have no balance. I have vertigo, so... we're gonna go. I hope you guys have a good spooky season, and we'll be back with you guys next week. Let us know if you want us to start doing 2 uploads a week, by the way, if you love us that much. Because I was...